Alright, what is up, fellas? I'm driving once again, actually, to run and grab some parts for the business. So it might be a little loud because I'm going to jump on the highway. But it seems like this microphone can handle cruising for the most part. Just hopefully it's not crazy at high speeds. Either way, let's talk about the idiot in the room, the elephant in the room, the washed up has-been that hasn't been relevant in 9 years in the room. Mr. Tuff. A lot of people are asking where he was, why he didn't show up, what was his deal, where did he come from. So long story short, when the reference back to originally when these guys came up here, when they first, I don't remember if that show was on for a year or that was I think it was on for a year technically, because I met Justin and all them guys back in 05, 06, and I'm actually going through these old tapes now, and I found it, and it's crazy. We all sound like kids, but that's how I originally met all those guys when we went to the first cash days in Oklahoma and raced them. And when this all came about, this is in 2013, 14, whatever, I think it was 12 or 13, when the show aired, I just started, I was out of the racing scene and tagged all my old racing buddies, and I'm like, look at this, pointing out all the fucking wrongs with the show, that Joe Public's never going to pay attention to. So it eventually worked its way over to Chief and Dave and all them, and then they started commenting, and then, eventually Chief hit me up and said, hey, we're going to come out there and do a show, or we want to do a race with you guys. And I was like, all right, cool. So we put people together. So kind of from the get-go, hence why these guys were so scared to come back, was we punked them out in every which way possible. Even from as far as saying we were going to bring a group of cars that were, say, car group B or car group A, and we showed up with car group B. None of the cars that we brought said we're going to be there. And even Tuff was a track promoter at Great Lakes Dragway up here in Wisconsin, and he, every time this kind of got tagged on Facebook or posted on Facebook, he would chime in with bring it to GLD or bring it to RSD, which was Real Street Drags. And in the early 2000s, the Real Street Drags was in Great Lakes Dragway, which is right over the border of Illinois and Wisconsin in Kenosha, or Racine, one of those, I don't know which one. But then that was the big street race night up there, and then in Indiana, just over the border here, you had US 41, which is SCC, it was Streetcar Chaos. And that's when you would just show up and you could race anybody and obviously be off the street, and you could spot them out. There was no light, none of this. This was way before no prep, all that stuff. No prep was actually started at US 41. The idea was by a group of guys, Figgy and these dudes, Guy, we're all Southside guys from Chicago, that said, hey, we should just, do a race, but at the track, but not prep it, so it's like the street. And that was their idea. They never did anything with it, and then Heyo Steve took it and ran with it, and that's how the first COTS, King of the Streets, ever got started. And it was in 07 or 08, and then it just evolved from there. So that's he did start it, and it did start in Chicago. I think Boosted came up to the first one too. And lo and behold, tapes that I'm going through, all those little mini DVs, I had to buy a camera just to play it back so I could digitally record it. I think the first COTS is on there, and no one recorded it, but I did, and I never did anything back in the day with it, so I'm gonna put that on there. But all these events and me meeting him back then, he was a track promoter, and he would just get on these little posts on Facebook, and this is kind of when Facebook started getting big. Man, dude. This is kind of when Facebook started getting big. He would just tell Daddy Dave, and I don't know, for whatever reason, they just went at each other. I don't know if they got both had Novas or what, but he would just bring it to the track. So in our little group, we had people, our people were already we had a plan going already and stuff. So we told Tuff to, hey, keep telling them that you're, street racing stupid. You're not gonna street race. Bring it to the track. And then, you know, same thing, they'll think you're not showing up. So that whole point, him and Danny Dave were going at each other, and they were going at each other and fucking, you know, starting to hate each other real bad. And we showed up. Permitted road was from 5 p.m. till 5 a.m. I think. Back then, like I said in the other video, he just took a picture, sent it to chief, and then I did the approval for paperwork and whatnot, and that was it. We get here at 5 o'clock, and there's like little chances of rain throughout the whole night. They have it permitted for 12 hours in the middle of the night. Oh, I hit a button, hopefully that stays on. And we show up and we got all these different cars, and you know, they're like, what the fuck? So we met at Nick's Straight Line shop, which was like a couple minutes away. And I mean, here's another back end of that, which I don't even think these guys know. Like the production crew said, the lady I dealt with back then, whoever it was like, you can only have, I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 people per car, and you know, that's it. So when we did the list of the people we were bringing in the cars, we factored that in. But then the chief had said that, yeah, girls don't count. So I told everyone in our group, hey, girls don't count for that one, you know, extra person. So when we showed up to Nick at Straight Line, everyone met there first, because like I said, it's like 2 minutes away, 3 minutes away, his shop. The lady called, I can't even remember her name. She was just like, okay, you know, meet over here. She's like, you have the right amount of people? I said, yeah, we've got our driver plus 5, and the girls don't count. And she's just like, no, the girls count. The girls count. I'm like, well, that's not what Chief told me. She's like, well, Chief's not the one running the show, so you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do about the count, because you can't have all those people in. And at that point, like, we were in Nick's shop, and I just kind of everyone was listening, because we were just kind of in the same little group talking at that point. And I'm like, well, I don't think we're all gonna show up if not everyone's allowed. And then she goes, well, I don't think that's true. I know people are still going to want to come here and be on the show. I said, no, hold on one second. And I looked at everyone. I said, I put the lady on mute. I said, do we all agree that if the girls can't get in, then we're all not going? And they're like, yeah, everyone's fine with it. So I got on the phone with her and I said, hey, if the girls don't come, we're all out. She goes, I don't believe that. And I'm like, everyone just like started talking in the background. I'm like, yeah, we're out. If the girls aren't coming, we're out, which was a stupid rule. So she's just like, well, she got all flustered. She's like, give me a few minutes and I'll call you back. So we were like, fuck that. We're just going to show up and we were just going to show up there anyways. What are they going to do? Not let us in? Which we ended up doing. We just showed up and she didn't even care. The lady didn't even care at that point. And we had that sprayer, which that was the other thing I had the idea of. I said, how can we just fuck with these guys? How can we fuck with these dudes? Like, mind fuck them hardcore. In Chicago, we always prep. We've sprayed our lanes out forever. I don't give a shit. These dudes, you guys commenting on the other videos, this isn't fair, that's not fair. This isn't track racing, this is street racing. The mentality here is different. The mentality here on the street is different. I don't give a fuck about fair. No one gives a fuck about fair. Street racing is illegal. You know, it's who gives a fuck if there's fair or not, in my opinion. There should be no rules at all. I mean, I could take you to into the hood city, and the shit they do is even crazier. Like, there ain't no fair there. But we always prepped, and that was we would always agree to it prior. But hey, I'm gonna prep my lane, you prep your lane. But Oklahoma was always heads up, and Oklahoma didn't prep. So I told Tuff, I said, in the group message, I'm like, hey, why don't we build some kind of fucking sprayer and we'll just spray the whole damn lane? Because Chicago's in a big tire scene, so the big tire cars we did bring out weren't street racing all the time. So I'm like, we need any advantage we can get. So one was we completely brought different cars, and then 2 was this machine. So I said, I think Tractor Supply Company sells like a garden sprayer for the back of your tractor. And then we found it was like $200. So everyone kicked in, and Tuff went and bought it. And then we got a 55-gallon drum, a VHT donated, and he rigged it all up. But he wanted to drag it in the back of a van so everyone could see it when we got there. I said, dude, we can't do that. Like, if they see it, they're gonna say, no, that's not gonna happen. We're not racing if you guys use it. So we had to stash it in the trailer with this Nova. And then when the time came, that's when they show me saying, the road we use, I picked the virgin part of the road, I go, most people want the right lane anyway, so I knew that was going to happen. I said, here, you guys pick your lane. You're going to get that lane all night. Whatever lane you pick, you're staying in it. So they were all excited about it. They didn't know. They're like, all right, fuck yeah, we're going to take the right lane all night. And then that's when he's like, he goes, that's it? I said, yeah, but hold on, we're just going to walk back over here. I said, maybe the cameras should follow me. So the cameras follow us, and they all start following us. And we go by Tuff's thing, and that's when we opened it up, and they were like, all their fucking jaws dropped, man. Chief's like, if you fucking do this and you guys lose, you're gonna be the biggest pussies in the fucking, in the world, blah blah blah. And I'm like, hey dude, it is what it is, whatever happens, So it misted before that we sprayed it, and dude, you could walk down that whole lane and it was the whole thing. We sprayed it, it was sticky. The first race was, we wanted Daddy Dave to race Tuff, like, because at that point through the internet it was blown up. They line up, it like misted out prior, didn't really like rain for like fucking 20-30 seconds, no more than what it did before Lutz racing Joe Zoper in the Daytona. And if you look at the edit of the way, I know that's not those guys in Oklahoma, it's the production, but if you look at the edit, when they say it rains out and they show the Tuff clip where Chief's talking about it, they still to the day show the same thing where Daddy Dave's doing a burnout in VHT, and they show that as him leaving the line and trying to race. So that was, bullshit. But that race happens, and it hooks and goes. Like, that Nova just went and left, and it was over. So at that point, like, those guys were kind of just, I don't want to say scrambling in their pants, but for the most part, because of all the cars that we showed up that were different. So Derek, like, from right even before Daddy Dave's race, was like getting all, I don't want to do this. This is the weather, this, that, and the other. Dude was just like coming up with every excuse because fucking Hutnick, Dave Hutnick had a fourth gen Camaro big tire car, big crazy big block motor, nitrous and everything, and like that car was violent, and we knew it was going to work. So he was just Derek's coming up with excuses. He's in the car coming up with this shit. So it starts misting out again. And at this point, we're looking at the radar, and it's like these little fucking patches of mist. And it's only 10:30 at this point. So it's like, fuck it. We've got another 6.5 hours. This rain's going to push through. There's no need to, let's just lay low and we'll wait. So they scramble amongst themselves, this and that. 30 minutes goes by, and it's got this little mist, and it's going to clear out within the hour, not even within the hour. So then all of a sudden we come to find out they're like, yeah, we're going to call it. We don't want to race in this. And we're like, what the fuck, dude? Fuck that shit. And that's when Joey says, like, something about the biggest street racers are scared. And they wanted it. And so then they gathered everyone up, and that's when they started recording again and wanted, like, yeah, well, you'll come to us and race. And I was like, I'm like, fuck no, I ain't going down there. I'm like, dude, you guys didn't even finish your race down here. So then, they went, the other crew with Heyo and all them went down there, and they lost over there too. But that's how Tuff's involvement started with this, and that's where the fucking Eagle blew up, because they were gonna show that race, and we kept it quiet the whole time. Like, didn't put any footage or nothing up on the internet. Kept it low key. Everyone knew what happened, but no one posted the video. And I guess someone sorry, I wasn't holding the camera right. I guess someone in Detroit somehow got a video of it and was going to post it up on their shit. And this is like 8 months later, 9 months later, because they were talking about they weren't even going to air the episode at all. They weren't even going to air that part. And so I was like, fuck that shit. I'm like, if they're going to post it, then, I'm going to post it, because I don't want some dude from Detroit getting the credit. So we ended up throwing it up. And I guess the production was salty with us, or Chicago in general, the whole time for how many years, which I thought was because of that. To come to find out, it wasn't. It was because of some fucking idiot that got in by us. Like, they were not really tight on security, so you could have just gone through the cornfield, and it's pitch black out, no one ever known. You could have snuck in. But someone posted the fucking pictures of the release forms and shit. Like, for what reason on Facebook? To look cool, or it's always one idiot that fucks everything up. So, but it was supposed to happen. years later, and then COVID hit, and then, you know, we were back to here. So now we can stem back to why Tuff wasn't here. Well, COVID is one of them. So Tuff is a sound engineer, I guess you could say. Like if you have a fucking concert you got to set up, or you have a high school dance, he brings all of his equipment and sets it up and plays it. So I guess that would be called a sound engineer. I don't know. But COVID hit, and, you know, everything fucking shut down. So the dude was, you know, had no money. So, okay, no big deal. We get in the group text message a few weeks prior, and we're like, you know, he's like, I ain't got no money. I can't do it. I'm like, okay, tell me what you need, everything on a list, and we'll make sure we take care of it. My fucking arm's falling asleep. Let's throw it over here. So I'm like, Joey says the same thing, Boost 12. Give us a detailed list of what do you need. He's like, I need tires, I need oil, I need fuel. He's like, I need tires, oil, fuel. I don't have a truck, I don't have a trailer. I said, dude, break it down to what you need. We'll get it. Whether we get someone to sponsor us, you can throw a sticker on the window or something. I knew having him there would be good for TV, to be honest with you, for sure, because it's the whole Daddy Dave and that thing. He would respond, and he kind of gave a list. And so Ryan Hendrickson gave him tires. Joey bought oil. I was going to get the fuel. I'm like, you just use my trailer. If we need a truck, we have a truck too. Don't worry about it. We'll get everything covered. You just have to get the part running. You got to get the part of your car running. That's what you need. And that's what you have to worry about. Don't worry about anything else. Well, then he would just go like MIA for, usually the dude's like quick to respond. He would go MIA for a half day, then he'd go MIA for a day, and then you get it. So then I'm like, I'm texting Joey. I'm like, all right, here, I'm going to text this motherfucker. So me and Joey, Boost 12, start a text group with him. So then he would respond, same thing. He would just go fucking, you know, text you back, and then he'd go missing for 5 hours. Text you back, go missing for a day. And it's like, dude, this is like, you already know that. If that's happened and they're not interested and they're fucking playing around. So now I just start ripping into them and shit. And he's giving the excuse that it was on, that it was back on, it was off, he can't get his guys. And we're like, dude, your car, the only valid reason his car would be there is because his car would work because it's so slow. His car doesn't make enough power to, you know, compared to what these guys make. So it would actually work on the street and have no issue because it is so slow. So it's not going to want to spin. And we're texting him back, and I think Zoper was in it too, and he's just like, dude, he's like, we'll help you. My guy's gonna be with, you know, Joey's got basically the same blower setup but with more power and shit, and a Hemi or whatever he's got. He's like, we can handle that part, don't worry about it. So then what happens? Tuff, MIA again. Fucking responds back after like all of us harassing him and shit. He would respond back. So at that point we knew he was fucking dipping, and you know, I don't know, dude. Is it a good thing that happened, or isn't it? Because now you see his videos that he's posting right now. Holy fuck, those fucking things are creepy. So that refers to the, if it brings the lotion on the skin, it gets the hose again. That's what it feels like when he's making these videos. So if these dudes came back up here, to be honest with you, would we have Tuff back up here? Who knows, because it's a hard decision, because I don't know. Like I said, you go look at his Facebook posts and his Facebook fan page that he's got, and yeah, that's rough, man. I'll put it that way. So that would be a hard decision. If we have I don't know. If it's a hat race again and we just have a whole bunch of people up here, fuck it, he could come in, but do we let him represent Chicago? That's the real question. You know, because that dude's loopy, that's for sure. So, but that is the reason he didn't come. That's the excuses. He went MIA. We did everything that we could to get him here and get the car here. Money wasn't the question. If he needed anything, we would have done it. We had enough people that wanted to be involved. As far as the 3-4 other big tire cars we had, those guys were just fucked on parts, man. Like COVID, like I said, Chicago. Most of the guys in Chicago don't get their cars ready till June. And that's I mean, because it's always fucking cold over here. But everyone procrastinates, and but COVID was the big thing. Like COVID just killed people on getting parts and getting them on time, and it's still like that. So So either way, that's my rant for today on the Queen of Chicago, Tough Enough, and you know, should he ever race Daddy Dave again? I doubt he would. It's twice now that they've been in his backyard and he has not showed up. So use that as a thought. So, all right. Well, till then, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment if you think this one's interesting. And we'll probably do one more video before the next episode drops after. So, all right. Peace.